guys, we wanted to create a quick video. We've all been working together for a while. You might have seen that we've just launched Rec3, and you might be thinking, what are these guys doing? Why are they moving into that space? And we wanted to put your minds at ease, let you know how we've come to this decision, how excited we are about it, what a great space that we think it is. And I think from our side, we've realised how big this space can be. We want to get it really right at its nascence, right at the start of it, where we can become the go-to recruitment partners for the Web3 space. We're lucky enough that we've got Frank Casal as a partner, who's been working on the forefront of new technologies for the past however many years. I don't want to embarrass him. I don't want to make him blush, but he's someone who's done really well, done really great things. So just really wanted to introduce what we do, and go from there. But I think I'll pass it to Frank just so he can give us a brief overview of what Web3's been doing and where we think it's going to go.
Hey, great. Thanks, Ollie. And really excited about working with you all and being a supporter and advisor. I mean, it's clear to many that the Web3 industry is about to really take off. Some would argue it has maybe 24 months or so ago. And also, as we've discussed, one of the biggest challenges in the space will be access to talent. There's no shortage of technology. There's no shortage of interest. And based on some recent data I've seen, there's no shortage of money that will be invested in the Web3 space. And if you think about it, if you've ever raised money or been involved with that, a good chunk of that money goes toward hiring people. Question is where those people are going to come from. And that's really what Rec3 is all about, really. The plan is to be the go-to source for expertise and recruiting in and around the Web3 arena, including, and if I mention it here, because different people have different definitions, including but not limited to blockchain, metaverse, decentralized finance, DAO, digital apps, NFTs for business, if you will. And I think those are most of them. So the big deal at the end of the day is, we're, as we've discussed, Ollie and team, we anticipate a big gap in the demand versus the supply of qualified talent in the space, and our goal will be to close that gap.
Definitely. Cheers, Frank, and Happy New Year, everyone, from all of us over here. But just to pick up on a few bits there, I think clearly there's a huge amount of innovation going to be coming from the Web3 space over the coming years, which will be huge. As Ollie said, clearly a nascent space at the moment. So I think it's really interesting for us to be part of a market that's very much at the forefront, is clearly what everyone's talking about at the moment. I think just some of those areas that Frank spoke about have been talked about for a number of years now, some not so much, but I think a lot of what we're going to be doing is supporting new businesses within those spaces to really drive their growth in the coming years. And I think what's interesting about the Web3 space is really sort of the ability to create an open and global ecosystem. And clearly for us to be able to be part of that journey is going to be super exciting.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in on that as well, Will, in terms of the space as well. From what we've seen, it's still very much in its infancy, and there's clearly a lot of opportunity there. And I think the problem is for some businesses when they're starting off, it's finding those right people to really help them on their way and on their journey, because if these organizations get it wrong the first time around, or it takes them 5 times longer to get something off the ground, it can really impact that business. So by doing what we're doing and starting Rec3, it will allow those businesses to move into the market quicker, pick up their projects quicker, deliver much more faster and more efficiently. So hopefully we're going to be there taking that pain away from a lot of those businesses, and that initial step that they often fall at, that hurdle that they fall at sometimes as well, which more often than not comes down to people rather than the actual technology.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And by the way, Harrison, you brought up a good point of speed. I mean, especially for the venture-backed companies, they not only need to get the right people on, but they need to get them on fast. They will not have the luxury of 3, 4, 5 months to find the right people. It's going to be 60 days. They're going to need salespeople, marketing people, tech support folks, developers, a lot of the same titles that they've been hiring for years, right? Harrison is just going to be a totally new space that they're not familiar with, and their friendly neighborhood recruiter, who they've been going to for years, they will also not be familiar with as well. I've been on the front end of these waves before, where all the usual connections end up being not properly connected. So then where do you go? So that's, I think, it. And Ollie, I think yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to agree. I think it sits quite nicely within our core values. We've not going to stray too far from the path that we've created with EdgeTech with those, because they see as well. But I think we're not in the business of plugging a little gap within a company. We're in the business of helping new companies, new ventures thrive, knowing that if we don't place that person or that team, that company's going to stall. They're not going to be able to do what they need to do, whether it's a new venture, whether it's a business unit within a larger team. But our focus is always on being really upfront, letting people know exactly what timescales look like, how much you're going to need to pay, what you're going to need to do to really entice these people on board. Because as you say, it's people they're not used to. They might have the same job titles, but they're going to have different needs. They're going to have different demands, and they're highly in demand at the moment. So those people are going to need to be looked after correctly, which is something that we really focus on. And our focus is always on being the forefront of technology, on moving with the flow of technology, making sure that we're always at the forefront. And by doing that, it means that we're going to come across technologies that probably our clients aren't that used to. So we're going to have to not only take a recruitment approach on finding people, but also an educational approach where we're letting them know what it is they're looking for, some more stuff into the technology. And that's why we personally really deep dive into all the technology that we work in, so that we understand it. And not just we're searching for a couple of keywords to find those people, because especially within some new technologies, I think there can be some charlatans. There can be some people who say they're doing these things, but unless we can really dig into what they've been doing, their experience, then we're opening our clients up to big risks and liabilities.
Yep, good point, Ollie. I can tell you that within my network, it's not unusual for people to ask me where they can find certain talent. And after months of realizing that there was no one out there in the space, I think that sparked the conversation between us, and your willingness, the willingness of you and your team to really invest in a new and really invest in the space, and I'm happy to support. So that was one of the more common questions. Another common question is where I met you guys. And I tell people it was at a bar somewhere in London. I had a reasonably sized beer. You guys had a ridiculously oversized beer, and you all have really good hair, which I envy. And to me, that was a good start. It was a good start to let's figure out how we could work together. Am I?
Yeah.
Will, am I exaggerating? Or that was pretty close, Will, I think.
Well, you can see it was probably a couple of years ago when you look at Harrison's hair now. But yeah.
I'm still clinging on to mine in my 30s, so I'll take it.
Oh my gosh! Well, listen, you're certainly a good bunch and a good-looking bunch. I've complimented you guys many times, but a fun bunch as well, which is also people I know. On a serious note, people I know that work with you. And listen, I did my due diligence here. The people I know that work with you say you guys are awesome. You're really credible. You're fun to work with. That's been clear to me as well. I've worked with you guys in the automation space, and you're still active in that space. And you have a good sense of the market. And as you mentioned before, the plan and you guys have made this commitment, which I'm delighted to hear. The commitment. It's not just about somebody hands you a job spec and you do keyword searches. Is ideally, as much, if not more, than the hiring manager that's contacting you. Because in many cases, this may be the first candidate of that type that they've hired. So where you can play a consultative role, and I've committed to you all to leverage my network and my access to always bring the best and the brightest to the table, where you are always briefed on the latest on metaverse, the latest on decentralized finance, right? Currently, you'd be hard pressed to find 3 people, get them into a room to even agree what the metaverse is or if it's real, and that's okay. We welcome those debates, but regardless, there's going to be a boatload of money invested in 2023 in this year in the space, and a good chunk of that's going toward hiring. So I'm delighted that you all have kind of stepped up and willing to make that commitment.
And just on that bit about fun, Frank, I think throughout the course of this year, having some really cool events where we can talk about the space and also meet some really cool people that are doing interesting things is going to be really interesting for us, and something that's going to be at the forefront of what we're looking to achieve this year. So watch the space on that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good point.
And I think that links in as well to, what we can be doing for the candidate and the hiring manager community as well. Outside of, helping people find their next dream job and land that new role in the Web3 space, and also helping the hiring managers find the right people. But outside of that, the communities that we will build around the events, around other things that we're going to be doing in the space, and resources that we'll put out, white papers, ebooks, those sorts of things. We'll just, build on that, and hopefully we'll have quite a lot to offer, for lots of individuals across the space, whether they're looking for jobs, whether they're hiring, or maybe they're somewhere in between. But being able to put this together, like you said, you did your due diligence on us. We obviously did the same on you as well, and we've known each other for quite some time, and it was a no-brainer. With your network and knowledge, and from our side, our expertise as well, being able to couple that together, it makes for an interesting new business. So that's the idea behind Rec3.
Yeah, I think also we don't want to be a company that you only come to when you're looking for a job, or you only come to when you hire. We want to be someone who has a resource of knowledge, has understanding, will be able to help people, whether they're just getting into the industry, whether they're just wanting to sort of sense check where they are, and just to make sure that everyone's up to date on the most current news and updates within the market, along with yourself, making sure that everyone's just kept up to date, kept educated. We don't need to only speak to you when you're looking. We don't need to only speak to you when you hire, but just to speak to you throughout your career, making sure everything's as it should be, making sure you're where you need to be, making sure everything's right with your side. And then when it comes to a time when you are looking, or when you're looking to hire, we're already speaking, we're already in contact, because we just talk regularly.
Ollie, that's a really good point, because I've always said for years, having a good amount of recruiting and staffing in my background, is that the ideal time to connect with a recruiting team is before you need them. So I encourage, for those on my network that are seeing this, if you haven't met Will, Ollie, Harrison, or Abby and the team, I encourage you to connect, whether you're maybe thinking of making a move in 2023, you're not sure, or you're thinking of hiring, you're not sure. You want to get to know what the team is all about, or learn a little bit about the industry. Connect early, build a rapport, may have the connection. This way, once you're ready to go, you're kind of already halfway there as far as getting to know the team and how they work. There's not a shy person in the room, that I can assure you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We're super excited for what 2023 will hold, for Rec3, for all of us, and for the industry in general. I mean, it feels like it's going to be a boom year. It feels like it's something that's going to really crest into a wave over the next 12 months and beyond. And I think we're super excited to just get going and start working on it.
Super. Is there anything else, Ollie, you want us to cover? Or any, I know your challenge was to anticipate questions that people might have. Is there anything that we haven't covered?
Not that I can think of, but if anyone wants to leave any questions in the comments, I'll do quick selfie videos answering all of them. So as long as they're relevant, then I'm more than happy to answer anything. I'm an open book.
We're waiting for your next elevator pitch, aren't we?
That's for sure. I hope there's a Rec3 elevator pitch. And my message to those on my network is that I'm fully supporting this team. And if you're in the space or thinking of getting in the space, this will be the go-to team for recruiting and staffing anything in the Web3 arena. If you're in the game, please connect with these guys. If you're thinking of getting, or you're wondering, or you're intrigued and you want to find out more, please connect with the team or contact me. I'm happy to speak in detail about what the game plan is. And that's basically it, gentlemen. We're off to a good start in the new year.
There we go.
Excited, very excited.
Cool.
Okay, I think we could just wind down.